The town is talking about Cressida's reveal of being Lady Whistledown, with some of them thinking it's good and others thinking that she is poorly raised. Penelope is in her room trying to write the next issue and she wants to deny that she is Cressida. Just as she crumples the paper she's writing on, Portia peeks in and tells her she has a visitor. Penelope goes to the drawing room and finds Colin, who is worried about her and asks if she's well. She assures him that she is fine but warns him not to get sick from her. Colin senses she has something to tell him but says he can wait until she's ready. Penelope explains she can't talk about it now, but assures him she didn't swoon because of him. It was because of Cressida's claim to be Lady Whistledown. Colin is shocked that Cressida would reveal herself at their engagement party. Penelope says it's typical of Cressida to take credit for something that isn't hers. He prepares to leave to let her rest, but gives her an engagement ring before he goes. Penelope admires it, and Colin remarks that she is even more beautiful. Noticing her ink-stained fingers, he comments on her writing, and she claims that she's been writing letters to share their happy news. After he leaves, Portia and Penelope smile at each other. Lord Cowper is furious with Cressida because Lord Greer has backed out of their arrangement. He decides to send her to live with her Aunt Joanna in Wales. Cressida looks to her mother for support, but she gets none. Lady Cowper then tells Cressida to retract her claim on being Lady Whistledown. Cressida is upset her mother doesn't believe her, but Lady Cowper points out that Lady Whistledown is clever and Cressida is not. Two royal guards then enter and summon Cressida to the palace on behalf of the Queen. Nearby, while Daisy and Nikki play, Alice and Will tell Lady Danbury they have news. She celebrates when they announce they are selling the club, and Lady Danbury is pleased because she advised them to make this decision. Alice worries about drawing attention to themselves, but Lady Danbury suggests they throw a ball to draw positive attention instead. After some hesitation, they agree, making Lady Danbury delighted. Violet welcomes Marcus, who has returned to retrieve a hat he left behind. A footman brings it to him, and Marcus admits he wanted to see her and thank her for a lovely evening. He asks how she is, and she mentions she has a headache. He knows she noticed the tension between him and his sister and believes they'll work it out. Marcus hopes to see her again soon before leaving. Violet enters the drawing room to find Benedict, Hyacinth, and Gregory arguing over macaroons, while Eloise reads and John and Francesca sit together. Francesca thinks it's time to share their news, but John does not believe they will hear him. To demonstrate, he jokes about having a plague, but they continue their debate, proving his point. Francesca then calls for her family's attention and announces that she and John are getting married. Her siblings rush to congratulate her, and Hyacinth declares Francesca will be the most beautiful bride, tied with their other sisters. Violet says they make a beautiful pair. Eloise finds Colin writing in a study. He asks if she knew about Cressida's claim to be Lady Whistledown. Eloise says no, she didn't know. Colin is relieved but still upset about the situation. He wants to take action but decides Penelope's well-being is what matters most. Eloise promises to try and resolve the issue and talks about confronting Lady Whistledown herself. Penelope tries to write her Colin but is interrupted by Eloise. Eloise says she intended to tell Colin the truth but couldn't. He thinks Penelope should stop writing as Lady Whistledown now that Cressida has come forward. Penelope refuses, saying she worked too hard to let Cressida take credit. Eloise urges her to think of Colin and suggests letting the column die with Cressida's name. Penelope is torn but determined to continue. Eloise leaves and Penelope looks down at her quill. Brimsley tells Cressida and Lady Cowper that the Queen will see them now. The Queen questions Cressida's motives for coming forward. Cressida says she wants to claim the reward to prevent anyone else from taking credit. Queen demands the next issue, but Cressida promises will be out soon. The Queen doubts Cressida's abilities and wants her to produce a convincing issue or not to return. Lady Cowper forbids Cressida from publishing, but Cressida insists she must to win back the Queen's favour. Lady Cowper reminds her that her father has already cast her out. Cressida is confident that the real Lady Whistledown is scared off, and Lady Cowper worries that publishing will ruin Cressida's chances of marriage. Cressida points out her chances are already ruined. Violet plans to host a wedding breakfast unless John's mother wants to do it. Francesca insists they need to announce their engagement first, and John says his mother would prefer not to host. Violet suggests waiting until the end of the season to announce, but Francesca and John want to start their life together soon. John thinks speaking to the Queen is the best course of action and asks Violet to do so on their behalf. Portia talks to Mrs. Varley about wedding plans. Prudence comments that her own wedding wasn't as grand, and Portia explains it's because Penelope is marrying a wealthy man. Prudence wonders why Penelope is getting such special treatment, and Portia then goes to find Penelope. Penelope reviews old issues of Lady Whistledown when Portia enters. Penelope claims she still feels unwell, but Portia insists she must focus on Colin and his dreams now. Penelope asks about her own dreams, and Portia dismisses them, saying ladies don't have dreams, they have husbands. She urges Penelope to appreciate her good fortune and warns her not to take it for granted. After Portia leaves, Penelope looks at her engagement ring. Tilly invites Benedict to a dinner party to meet her friend Paul. Benedict wonders if his intentions are being scrutinized, and Tilly says it's fair since she met his family. Colin toasts to John joining their family, and Benedict teases him for being overly sweet. Will brings a fine bottle of brandy and they share it, with Will saying he refuses to have a pity drink. Colin jokes about needing it himself, and they each talk about their lives and toast to Will's club, and Will looks around reflecting on his club's legacy. Mr. Hughes announces the engagement of Penelope and Colin, and Emma Kenworthy and Charles Cho. After the service, Penelope tells Portia she'll join her shortly. Colin is happy to see Penelope feeling better, and she says she feels much better and reassures him she still wants to marry him. He knows she has something to tell him, and she confesses her long-time love for him. He promises to spend his life making up for not seeing it sooner. They share a happy moment together. Lady Danbury introduces Marcus to Lady Keswick, and he is distracted by Violet. Violet talks to Lady Danbury about another engagement she might announce. They watch John and Francesca, and Lady Danbury advises Violet on handling the Queen. Colin and Penelope join them, greeted warmly, and Francesca watches on from a distance. Penelope hides her Lady Whistledown materials and burns past issues in the fireplace. Colin writes in the study. Alice directs the staff as they prepare for the party, and Will asks if she's enjoying herself, and she says she's looking forward to hosting the best ball. Penelope visits Genevieve for fabric samples for her wedding. Genevieve is surprised Penelope is stopping her column and letting Cressida take credit. Penelope explains she has a love match, and Genevieve promises to make her a beautiful dress. Cressida writes a Lady Whistledown issue, which she reads to her mother. It's poor work, and seeing her mother's reaction, she admits her fear. Lady Cowper insists on getting a Queen's reward before the real Whistledown publishes again. Eloise finds an old Whistledown paper in a drawer and comments on its cleverness. Paul Suarez asks Benedict what it's like being a second son. Benedict jokes about trying to live up to the stereotype, and Paul inquires about Benedict's creativity, to which he responds that he's not particularly creative but enjoys dancing at parties. Tilly mentions that Paul supports the arts and the theatre, which is how they met. She recalls yelling at a director backstage after a play for altering it too much, defending her action. Benedict and Paul realise Tilly used the same arguments on both of them. At the Mondrian ball, Francesca enjoys the music and Joy enjoys her family, but Violet is distracted by Marcus. Nearby, Lady Danbury also observes Marcus, and she gathers her widowed friends to introduce to him. As they enter, Portia criticizes Penelope's dress color but compliments on how it looks on her. Prudence becomes teary-eyed, and Harry tries to comfort her, but she attributes her emotions to pregnancy. Portia searches for Colin. Colin tells Will and Alice that although he can't have the club, it is nice to host great parties. The Queen arrives and everyone bows. She criticizes the party as dull, but then a footman reveals an impressive flower display which pleases her. Colin and Penelope dance, and Francesca asks Violet if she can speak to the Queen now, but Violet advises waiting until the Queen is more settled. Francesca insists, fearing the Queen might leave early. Violet suggests they wait and offers to arrange a meeting with Lady Danbury if needed. Francesca argues, saying Violet doesn't believe in her match with John. Despite Violet's support, Francesca feels it's insincere, and she asserts her love for John even if it's not Violet's ideal match. Francesca walks away. Marcus notices Violet leaving and follows her. Lady Danbury intercepts him, stating he can't pursue her friend, and accuses him of ruining her chance at happiness. Marcus asks for an explanation, and she recalls that before her marriage, Marcus stopped her from escape by informing their father. Marcus tries to explain, but Lady Danbury is unmoved and leaves to find Violet. Paul confides in Benedict that he avoids society due to his pretentiousness. Benedict is puzzled, realizing Tilly hasn't shared all their stories. He jokes about their report and then awkwardly asks if they've been intimate, blaming the wine for his rudeness. Paul finds it charming and excuses himself to check on Tilly and dessert. Benedict later finds Paul and Tilly kissing. Paul invites Benedict to join them upstairs, but Benedict laughs it off and leaves. Lady and Cressida Cowper enter, causing a stir. Lady Stowell signs that Cressida is trouble and warns her daughter to avoid her. The Queen finds the party amusing and instructs Brimsley not to bring Cressida to her, enjoying her discomfort. Colin assures Penelope he won't let Cressida ruin her night. Lady Cowper plans to await for the Queen's summons with dignity. Lady Barragan considers leaving, but Lady Maholtra wants to see the outcome. While dancing, Colin tells Penelope he's editing his travel diary. She offers to help, but he wants to prove he can do it himself to be worthy of her. She assures him he already is, and they notice Cressida approaching the Queen, summoned at last. The Queen criticizes Cressida for attending uninvited, and Cressida attempts to present a gift. The footmen reveal copies of the latest Whistledown written by Cressida and her mother. Miss Stowell announces Lady Whistledown's return, causing a scramble for the papers. Penelope reads one, finding a promise of more content soon. The Queen is intrigued by Cressida's efforts and looks forward to more gossip, hinting at a possible reward. Eloise, reading the Whistledown, looks for Penelope and they leave the room together unnoticed by Colin. Eloise regrets convincing Penelope to let Cressida take credit, fearing they've created a problem. Penelope reassures her, planning to publish another issue to discredit Cressida. She recalls starting a column to find her voice and now aims to set things right, and Eloise agrees they need to act quickly. Penelope writes in her carriage and delivers her work to Mr. Harris, apologizing for the delay. As she turns to leave, she encounters Colin, who realizes she's Lady Whistledown. That's it for the Bridgerton recap. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next recap.